Welcome to the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Welcome to ITSP Magazine. You're listening to a new Redefining Security podcast. Have you ever thought that we are selling cybersecurity insincerely, buying it indiscriminately, and deploying it ineffectively? Perhaps we are. So let's look at how we can organize a successful InfoSec program that integrates people, process, technology, and culture to drive growth and protect business value. Knowledge is power, now more than ever.
And there we are. Sean, unmute yourself, please.
Can I work some technology today? I don't know if that's possible. Here we are. We're live during RSA conference.
Yeah.
And coffee in hand, ready to roll.
There you go. There you go. You know, I have been getting messages on LinkedIn to like, hey, where are you? You know, on the floor. And I'm like, I'm on the floor in my home, in my office. But
right.
Virtually, we're doing this experiment, this live streaming with people that are actually at RSA conference. And as much as I miss to be there, I think the experiment is kind of working. We're really connecting with a lot of people.
It is. That's what we tell ourselves anyway, that this is a huge success, Marco.
My mom loves it. My mom loves it.
And yeah, I won't go to the dogs. The dogs love it too. But no, I'm thrilled to bring this conversation to bear. Selena Proctor, who I've known for a while, has recently joined AppViewX, and she brought along a guest to tell us all about what's going on during RSA conference this week in San Francisco. Selena, good to have you on.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice to escape the show floor
for a moment. I hear it's very noisy there.
Yeah, as always, hectic and noisy. And then they'll roll out the bar carts in a few hours, and that's when it'll get.
Ooh, yeah. 9 in the morning, the bar carts come out, I think.
Exactly.
In the form of coffee, quote unquote.
Yeah, I want to ask you how it is, because I'm kind of, again, missing the fact that we didn't make it there. But before we go there, I would say a quick introduction about yourself and your friend who you brought with you.
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Alon Nachmany. I'm the field CISO here at AppViewX.
And we missed your name. Sorry.
Alon Nachmany.
Very good. And Selena.
Yeah, Selena Proctor, CMO at AppViewX. I've been here for about 3 months.
Nice. And I actually want to jump in there first before we get into the event. You've pulled off a move.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you did since joining.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a joke about myself, but it's like the first thing a CMO does, right? They start and they start flipping a brand. But I was actually, when I started at AppViewX, the company was already going through a rebrand. So I was lucky that I had gotten here and I was presented with all of the work and the brand and the kind of the vision of the company, which was great. So we pulled off a brand flip overnight on Sunday into Monday morning. No pressure with that at all. So very little sleep and a lot of stress and alignment. So we have a new brand that launched Monday morning. We're really excited about it.
Yeah, super cool. And I know a multinational organization, so a multinational effort to pull that off, as you told me the other day. And of course, I mean, I don't know how many hundreds of products I've delivered in my time, but they never meet the schedule, right? There's always something. So to actually have a hard date and pull it off, kudos to you and the team.
The booth was branded one way, the website was another way. So we had limited options, right? We were doing it Sunday to Monday, no matter what.
Nice. So talk to us about the booth. What's going on there? What are you hearing? What are people talking about?
I think both of us will joke that the theme of this show, you probably heard this a million times, is zero trust. That is, it feels like the RSA buzzword
of the year
of 2022. So one thing we noticed that almost every booth, somewhere in the booth has zero trust.
It's everybody's talking about it, and unfortunately, a lot of people are butchering it. So something that's an important security concept is becoming a buzzword that just everybody's throwing out there.
So let me mention this. Sean and I were supposed to be there and actually deliver a talk about what we've learned in 1,000 podcasts, and the entire thing was going through the history of kind of the buzzwords that Sean heard through the years. And so we were definitely going to talk about zero trust, which I think is not the first year that we actually hear that one. And probably the RSA conference organization, they have their own theme, which is transformation. So I wonder how they're actually getting along with the zero trust buzz on the floor. So tell us about that. Why is it kind of weird to hear it? Is that the feeling?
So I don't think it's weird. It's just, if you think about it for a second, every buzzword is based on, a core functionality or need that we have. And it's just strange to see, zero trust, which is a security concept that a lot of organizations are adapting, and to hear that kind of move from, a core concept that everybody wants to a buzzword that everybody's just throwing out there to get people into their booth, I guess makes you cringe a little.
Yeah, there is always one of those, Sean. I think every RSA conference there is that one or two buzzwords.
Digital transformation.
Exactly.
I've done them, so. Remember one year everyone's booth had.
Yeah, you have to.
Clouds.
You have to. Yeah. Either that or get left behind, I think sometimes. Yeah, exactly. But so the real value comes when you get beyond the buzzword and you start having a conversation. And what this channel is all about is operationalizing cybersecurity. So taking a concept or a challenge faced by IT organizations all over the place and figuring out how to take control or some remediation and get it into the business, changing the team structure, changing processes, getting the budget to do that. So I don't know, any thoughts or things you're hearing, obviously around applications. Let me focus in on that. Where are organizations actually taking it to the next level?
Yeah, no, specifically, for us, what we're hearing is we've had quite a few people stop by, talk to us about certificate outages and how we can help them resolve those. And also quite a few stopped by and asked about, how can we automate some of their processes and help them, just streamline, either reduce headcount or just utilize their existing headcount. So it's definitely a lot going on down on the floor.
Very good, very good. Now, Sean, we know that this is kind of like an appetizer. I know you like food metaphors. So
I do love food.
I love food. Of a much larger.
I want to get right past the metaphor and straight to the food.
So this is the appetizer, because we will have a much more in-depth conversation and learning about AppViewX. And but I think that, as every good appetizer should kind of give you the flavor of what the meal is going to be. So why don't we learn a little bit about what AppViewX is, apart from the rebranding and all of this. Congratulations on that. I've done a few of those. It's a big headache. Yeah. But yeah, a little bit about the company. What are you presenting on the floor?
Yeah, so we're talking mostly about certificate lifecycle management, and how we help companies automate and simplify their encryption while protecting their private keys and protecting kind of their crown jewels. So anywhere from completely automating it to and hands off to going through requests, and we'll do the entire process, issuing certificates, revoking certificates, renewing certificates, making sure they don't have those outages that could cause issues, making sure they don't have breaches like, their private keys ending up in the wrong places, and even down to managing their ADCs. So,
can you give us an example of where organizations might find that challenging at the moment? I don't know if things have shifted over the years. I don't know if moving to the cloud has impacted that. Maybe some use cases or a couple stories of where organizations are challenged by this?
Yeah, for sure. It really depends on the organization. We've seen, organizations that have had mergers or acquisitions that are just, combining different infrastructures. Different organizations had different ways of doing things, and kind of being able to streamline that, making sure you're not, nothing kind of falling between the cracks that'll later cause an outage or something will go down, especially something that's, mission critical that somebody forgot about, or, like I said, in kind of a merger or acquisition scenario that just, the knowledge transfer didn't happen. We're also helping some organizations with their IoT and securing their infrastructure, and even helping, some medical wearables securing our medical information and making sure that that's all encrypted. So really, really depends on what our customers want to do, and we're up to helping them accomplish it.
No lack of IoT in this world, and I don't know if it crosses over into OT or not, but
for sure, definitely does.
Yep, a lot of stuff to consider there. And what else? I don't know, is there anything surprising? So zero trust, we could probably all put our next paycheck on that was a topic or a theme. Anything strike you as out of the ordinary that you're hearing this week?
Not really. I mean, it feels, I guess, like any old RSA. We've all done a lot of them, just a little more complicated, right? Because you've got to get all your clearances before you go in. No, I think everyone's honestly excited to be back in person. You go past the same restaurants and the same bars, they're full. It's, it feels like essentially
nostalgic almost.
Yeah, a little bit nostalgic and surreal to be back in person. I think the vendors are a little more excited than the folks attending, because it's the first time you get to see folks face to face, right? So, but yeah, it's the only other thing is, a lot of stuff's still closed in San Francisco, so it's hard to find places to go, or a lot of things that we remember are not open or boarded up, which is a little bit sad, but not surprising.
I like to ask you this question, talking about the digital transformation that it was forced during these 2 years and more of pandemic, the fact that now we're back and everybody's excited. Everybody's like, yeah, we're back to normal. But the question that I'm kind of asking to people that participate from the floor that actually experience that, is it really going back to what it used to be? I mean, I know there is this little bit of nostalgia, but some things are probably not going to go back to what it was. I'm always envisioning a hybrid relationship with customers. So both your perspective on this.
I'll let you go. And then.
So it's nice shaking people's hands again. It's nice being able to look people in the eye. There definitely are people, still wearing masks and being cautious about that. And you do see people kind of social distancing. So I do see what you're talking about. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who didn't want to attend or, just didn't feel safe. But I also think that a little bit before COVID, and by a little bit, I mean like the last few years, we still had remote meetings. We still had Zoom before COVID. We're talking about it as if this is, a new concept, but we were doing this before. I just think we're doing it maybe a little bit more now.
I do think people have gotten a little more selfish with their time, right? Now you don't commute. We talk about this all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You can hear your kids a room away, right? And so now the concept of traveling or coming back into the office is just, it's not as attractive, right? Because you're used to being closer and more present with your family. So even traveling for us, we talk about it, is difficult because I'm like, it's so weird. I can't see my son all day, every day. So I think that's one thing that people got used to over the last 2 years and aren't willing to give up now. Us both being one of them.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that I'm, it's hard to be away from home now.
Yeah.
It almost seems to me that these special moments, we'll say, for these events might be the case where there could be some excitement to get out and about and on a plane and engage with each other, because it is there are two sides of the community, right? The vendor community, the consumer community, we'll say, and then bringing those both together in an event like RSA. was obviously pretty special, and you said nostalgic. I think that as well. So perhaps these are the moments where the time away from home really matters, and and to have that eye to eye contact, and when masks are appropriately removed, see that smile, right? And I know Marco, there's a number of folks when we run into them at conferences, the first thing you do is run up and give them a big hug, right?
Yeah.
And I miss that too, and because I mean, ultimately we're one big family. So
yeah, even at our own company, right? There's people that you've worked with for, I mean, for me, of course, for months, but some people work together for years. They've never met in person. So these conferences are an opportunity even for our company
to see people you've been talking to for years,
meet each other and see faces.
And that also is surreal. I got to tell you.
Yeah. I see all these posts, like some of our hosts that are there, they're speaking, like Philip Wiley is like, oh, I finally met this person that I've been friend, because I mean, you're still friend, you're connected, you interact, you have them on a podcast for years, and finally you get to fist bump or something. It's like, okay, but that relationship was there. And I would like to eventually finish with what I actually meant, not only on the human level, but also the transformation for the industry. So how the cybersecurity has evolved with the zero trust outside of the company, outside of the office, working remotely, and how that may have affect your relationship with your customer, and maybe developing the product with a different perspective as well. So some thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll say definitely that it's very interesting when COVID hit, companies that had a strong cybersecurity program realized how the role of cyber isn't just to protect the company, it's to enable the company. Companies that had a great VPN presence, that had a great telecommuting or Zoom or all of those systems that were already implemented, they saw how cyber can actually enable the company to do more, to be more productive, to get more done. And I think that fast forward 2 years, people aren't looking at cybersecurity as a necessary evil anymore, or as something that a compliance requirement. It's something to help our company be able to communicate. It's something to help our company grow. And I think within our industry, a lot of practitioners are understanding that my job isn't just to protect the company, it's also to enable the company to do its function.
Yep. Cheers to that. That's always a topic I like to dig into. Marco and I call it the business of security, right? Driving the business to do what it can safely and securely for itself and for its customers. So very cool conversation. I'm grateful that, Marco, do you want to say something?
No, I was just making a reference in my head between the zero trust and zero business. If you go with zero trust and you kill everything, you're not enabling the business. So that concept always make me think more from a philosophical perspective. That is like, zero is not a good thing usually, right?
Yeah, binary is very seldom the reality. And yeah, I remember just very quickly, early days Symantec, viruses were spread on floppy disk at the time. If an email server got infected, the solution was turn off email, right? That's not the answer. You can't do that in this day and age. So obviously things have progressed since then, but that same mentality is not appropriate. You can't shut everything and lock everything down for the sake of security and safety. There's a big gray bar in the middle, and to your point, it needs to be tuned to enable a business, not to just meet compliance and security requirements. So thank you both for taking time away from the show floor and the conversations they're having there. Hopefully folks get a chance to meet you this week in a few days left and have a good chat with you. And hopefully you enjoy the rest of the show, and thanks for sharing their story here on ITSP Magazine.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Redefining Security podcast. If you learned something new and this podcast made you think, then share itspmagazine.com with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our podcast channels. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.